Right. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm just gonna double check and make sure that everyone has successfully joined before we start. So just give me a second just to see. Looks good. I think we can start. Yeah. So perfect. So today we'll be doing a webinar on a really awesome feature on the Power Platform. Really exciting stuff, trust me. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Renelle Rath, and I'm a function consultant here at Magnetism Solutions. And what we do at Magnetism Solutions is we work on the Power Platform and Microsoft Dynamics 365, and we work really closely with our clients to build awesome solutions on these platforms to their everyday real problems. It's new features like the one we're discussing today that helps us do so. So best stayed glued to the screen, and let's see what there is. We will have some time at the end of this webinar for some answers to your questions. So if you have any questions, you can send that through and I'll answer them. But should we not manage to get to yours specifically, you can always feel free to contact us directly, either via our website at www.magnetismsolutions.com or email us at support@magnetismsolutions.com. And without any further ado, let's get started. So this is the latest in a series of webinars that we've been doing, giving you an overview of the newest features or available features to use within the Power Platform and what they mean for you and your business. In today's webinar, we're looking specifically at Microsoft's Power BI, so business intelligence built for Microsoft Dynamics 365, but you can also include other platforms where you store your data. It's basically a tool where you can essentially visualize all of your business data, it's information that you've captured along the way, into useful reports that you can take action on. So reports that are visual, that's easy to understand, and then you can take action on it to improve and grow your business. So let's go here. So our real life scenario is this. You run a business that processes applications, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple, right? The applications are submitted to your website online or via your portal, and this is done by your clients. And then it gets processed into a queue that is then managed and processed by your staff. So they work through and process the application through Dynamics 365, and then they give it an outcome. Many actions are performed by your staff to progress the application into a completed stage, which you can track through a business process flow stage. So there's many stages that they follow, as well as the application statuses as it's moving along. And then it will give you a positive or a negative result. So let's have a look at those business process flow stages. So we've got essentially three stages. There's the application check stage, an assessment stage, and an application outcome stage. Now, during the application check, this is when you receive the application via your website or portal. So it comes in as a draft status, and then it is submitted and put into a Dynamics 365 queue. So once the application is within Dynamics and it's in a queue and available to be picked by an agent, it is in a submitted stage. Once an agent takes this application to process, or it's been assigned to an agent to process, it will go into an in progress status, and the assessment stage will start. So during the assessment stage, the agent will need to collate the information received in the application, confirm a few things. They might put the application on hold, so it will go on hold status while they clarify some information. They could also escalate it to an urgent status where they might need a manager to review and approve certain details. All of this is done during the assessment stage when they are processing the application. Once they have processed all of those details and they've confirmed they have all the information to give the application an outcome, they can continue into the application outcome stage, which is where they can either complete the application as being good to go, as being accepted, or they can cancel it off as not being valid and couldn't qualify and thus cancelled. So it could be a positive or a negative application outcome, and that would be the final stage of this application. Now, as a business, you would like optimal productivity from your agents. You want a streamlined process to be followed. Thus, it would be good to have visibility on their workload and how it's being processed. So, how many applications do they have? Perhaps you can even the load across all of your agents. Maybe some might have really large numbers of applications assigned and others might not. How long does an application take to process? what is the median time frame across the whole business? Do some stages take longer than others, and why? Are your applications maybe getting stuck at some point? All very, very good questions, but how do you answer them? Well, the answers lie within your data. You already have them available. And by using Power BI, you can visualize your data into clear, easy, and attainable answers that you can actually use. But let's have a look at how Power BI can actually pull all of this data into something that we can review and immediately get answers from by just having a look. So I've pulled a report in Power BI Desktop, which is this report over here, and I called it Agent Workload. This is a report that I built and made available to my CEO or managers. So this is the user that will monitor the report, will look at all the applications coming through the business, can see who's working on them, who's assigned to these applications, how long it's taking to process, and all of these details. So I've got quite a bit of information available. I can see that I've got 330 applications for this time period, and I can modify the slider and it will modify the data as needed. So from the 6th of March till the 26th of March, I have 231 applications available. Out of those applications, I can filter down or slice it into even more precise bits of information. So I can take my total applications and see how many of them are international type applications, 194. I can also see how many of those applications are currently in the assessment stage. And I can see there's 70 applications currently in the assessment stage. Then I can clear that and go back to my normal. Additionally to having these options that I can slice my data into to quickly and easily see what type of information I have, what type of application, and what stage and what status it is in. I also have a bar chart that can quickly show me spikes. So I can see that 114 applications of the selected date range has been completed, and also 10 of them have been cancelled. I can see my top performers. So I've got a pie chart showing my agents, my top agents. I've selected my top 5 agents to be visible because they're the cream of the crop and I want to see who they are. And I can see that Howard actually has 21 applications that he's working on, and it's 18.58% of all of the applications for this date range. I can also see the time spent on each stage of that application. So I can see majority of the time is spent on application outputs, assessments, which is 54.95% of the time spent. That is understandable because most of the work is done during the assessment stage, and that is when the agents are getting information and confirming details. But what kind of gets me off guard, and which is now clearly visible, is that there's quite a lot of time, 37.88% of the time spent on processing an application is spent on application check stage. And this is initially the stage where the application comes through my website or portal, and then it is set in a queue to then be picked up by an agent to manage or process. This means that my applications are stuck in the queue for too long. I might want to then focus on that problem and have someone monitor that queue and manually assign to available agents, or set up a process for the queue to automatically assign to any available agent or to an agent with a specific amount of applications in their box. Additionally, I've got more information. I've got in my line chart, I can see all of the applications coming through and what their submitted dates are. So I can see on the 9th of March that I had a spike of 35 applications that came in. But then immediately thereafter, we didn't really get applications for a while and only got applications again on the 11th where we had 5. This means, and if we had a look at the other date, which is the 16th of March, we can kind of see that in the beginning of each week, we're getting a lot more applications from our clients. So this means that I can maybe manage my resources to be more readily available on Mondays and Tuesdays, so they can manage or cater for that spike coming in the early beginning of the week. Additionally, I've got this really cool feature, and this is where we can incorporate new technology, where I can actually enable forecasting on this chart, where Power BI gives me the option to predict how many applications I can expect to receive in the future. And this is done by looking at all of the data already available, so my historical data, and then making an assumption of what kind of trend line that will follow. So now I can see that on the 31st of March, I can expect about 15 applications to come through. So that is the predicted application number. It gives me an upper bound of 26. If we have a very, very good day, we might get 26 applications, and a lower bound of maybe 4. But we can gauge or expect around 15 on the next Monday. This means that as a manager, I can ensure that I have enough agents available to process those 15 applications in due time, and I can be one step ahead when managing my business. All very, very good and clear information with just a few clicks, and I can immediately see it. So I can immediately see some problem areas I want to focus on. I can see my top performers. I can see the general median line of applications, so we generally get about 10 a day, and then also can manage the spikes of when we have heaps of applications coming in and not so much, and making sure that I have enough resources available for those times. Additionally, I can take advantage of Power BI and include it for my other teams. So here I've got the agent workload report, which I specifically built for my managers to manage the agents, their workload, and see the application process and make sure that it doesn't get stuck and that we are following the most streamlined and best process to progress our applications into a completed stage. But what I can also do is I can get more details on my application and use this for my marketing team. So we can take initiative to better market our product or our capabilities. So here I've got a view of my 330 applications, and I can actually see what countries they are coming from. So my marketing team actually can go out and say, for one of our top countries is Australia, as we're getting 62 applications from them. They can highlight Australia and say they want to see all of the applicants from Australia that took the bonus A add-on. And then they can easily extract that information, export it, and then build a campaign from that and say, we've noted that you have liked our bonus A option. Would you like to process any other applications? We could also have a look and say, for example, let's see if there's any applications that took both of our add-ons, so bonus A and bonus B, and we can see we have one application 10201, and we can use that as an initiative to launch a loyalty campaign saying that you have taken all of our add-ons. We would like to offer you maybe a discount or something like that. So we can take initiative from the data that we now have available. We can also see that there's ways that we can optimize our information. So if we are running our campaigns on areas, so on the specific location or country that an application is coming from, it is not great that I can see that I've got 179 applications that have no country assigned. So we could maybe then on our website initiate that when you select the country, that it's a mandatory field, ensuring that all applications will have this specified, making it easier for our marketing team to manage or to target those applicants. So with just a bit more information, we can also make the life of our marketing team a whole lot easier, and they can quickly and easily start campaigns and target our clients with the real life information that we have available. So how is all of this put together? How did I build these reports? Where did I get my data? How did I put it together in Power BI? So let me take you through the build steps. The first step is to get the data into Power BI. So here I've got my data model. It's a very simple data model where I have my applications, and I can see my agents assigned to applications, the business process flow selected for the application. You could have multiple business processes that you've set within your business, and you also have different services. So depending on the application type, I could offer different services. And then of course we've got the country as well, so the origin of where the applicant came from. So all of this is captured within Dynamics 365, and I was able to pull this information via Get Data. So by selecting Get Data, I have a few options available to get my data. So I can select a few out-of-the-box data sources, which are, I can pull my data from an Excel sheet. I can use Power BI dataset that's already available, SQL Server, text to CSV. I can also use web, and I have even more options available. For me to connect to Dynamics 365, I selected more. I selected online service, so I went to online services, and I selected Dynamics 365 online. As you can see, there are many other options available. You can plug it in directly into Salesforce, you can use Azure, you can even use LinkedIn. So we've got quite a few connectors available in Power BI that you can connect to any kind of data source out there and then pull that data into a model that you can use. I can then pull in all the details. So if I selected Dynamics 365, I can then put in my login details to access that data and then select connect, and it will pull through my information. I then also have the option to transform my data. So if I select transform my data, it will open my Power Query Editor. And Power Query Editor is a really nice tool, and it's an out-of-the-box feature available in Power BI that it will assist you in cleaning up your data. So when you're pulling in your tables and you're pulling in your query with all of the information, you might not want to use all of the columns, and you might want to change some of the types of data. You might want to just optimize and clean it up a bit before you start building your report. So for example, I've done quite a bit of work on my application table query, and you can see the steps that I've applied with this really cool applied steps. So I can see that I selected specific columns, I promoted to header, I changed some of the column types, so I can see some of them are text, some of them are numbers. I've renamed them so they're a bit easier to understand, and I've removed some columns because I didn't need to use all of them in my reports. I only pulled the data that I need for my reports. So I've gone ahead and done that. Using Power Query, I was able to quickly and easily sort all of the fields and data that I need for my reports. I was then able to associate how my tables are connected. So I can see that I've got a many-to-one relationships. I've built a few relationships to my applicant and agent. So my application can only be assigned to one agent to process, but my agents can have many applications that they are processing. So it's a one-to-many relationship, and it's the same with most of the other tables as well. So I could have one business process flow, so let's say a service application business process flow, and it can be associated with many applications that are done within that business process flow. Types of services is a one-to-many again, and then my country, Australia, can have many applications as we saw. So here I've got my data model all built and set up. I have my field selected. I used Power Query to clean it up a little bit. I've also set relationships, so when I am pulling my reports together and I want to see all of the applications for a specific agent, my relationship will allow me to see that clearly and accurately. Right, so we've pulled all of our data that we need to build our reports from the applicable data source, and we then linked it all together and have this beautiful data model. We can now go and, even on top of that, go to the data tab and then modify and clean up the data even more. So I can go ahead and select my applications table, and because I know that we are capturing the time spent in a specific business process flow stage within minutes, I wanted to optimize that into a more clearer view for my users. So when we're looking at the report, I didn't want you to see 190 minutes. I wanted you to see 2 hours or 3 hours instantly, and it's easier to take it, to absorb. So what I did is I added a calculated column. You also have the options to add a measure if you wanted to. And then I added a function. So you can use DAX functions that's available for you to use. And basically what I did is I said, take the time spent in the application check stage and then check whether it's less than 60, because if it's more than 60 minutes, then it's actually an hour. So then show hours and make it an hour. If it's more than 24 hours, then make it a day. So when it shows you 190 minutes, or if the value is 190 minutes, it's going to see that there's actually 3 lots of 60 in there, and it will show me that it's 3 hours that's actually spent. If it's 57, then it will just show 57 minutes. So now it's easier for me to read. So I've got the values here, and I couldn't really gauge how much time is spent. 8,390 minutes is quite a lot, but now I can see it's 5 days that was calculated, and makes it a lot easier to understand the information I have available. So you can add other calculated columns and measures to make your data more understandable or more visible, more usable in your reports. Then finally, you have the option to actually build the report. So you've done a bit more tweaking with your data, you've added a few functions, you've clarified your information, so you can clearly see things quickly in your report. So now that we've done that, we're going to jump into the Reports tab and start building our reports. So here we've got the reports that I showed earlier, and we can see, for example, the agent workload that I've used quite a bit of visuals in here. So we've got bar charts, so I can select a bar chart, I can select a pie chart for agent workload, and I can modify and change them as needed, but I felt that a pie chart was best to see my agents. I then also have the option to filter them and tweak them as we go along, but let me take you through those steps. So the first thing I need to do is select the fields that I want to see in my visual chart. So I wanted to see the amount of agents, so I dragged in agents into details, and I wanted to see how many applications they have processed. I have the option, so I have a few options here. I selected to count all of the applications because I wanted to see the total applications that they are working on. So I can see that Howard has 21 applications that he's working on. If they were doing sales and I wanted to see how much revenue they're bringing in, I could take the sale amount and then say sum it, and then I can see the total sum of the revenue that my agents are bringing. But for my example today, I wanted to see the amount of applications they're progressing, and I just selected count. So I selected count, it's counting all of my applications for my specific agent, and it's giving me that in a pie chart. I then have the option to edit it a little bit, so I can give it a title. I renamed my title to be agent workload. I can give it colors, so I can assign colors to my users. If I didn't like the color scheme, I can optimize it a little bit, and there's quite a few more visual changes that you can add with the Formats tab. And then additionally to that, you sometimes have analytics, like what I had with my line chart. I had quite a few analytic options available where I can add a median line where I could see that I've got about 10 applications coming in a day. And I was also able to add a forecast, so a predicted application forecast, and I selected that I wanted to forecast 14 days or 2 weeks in advance. I have an option to do years, months, points even, and then I can select my confidence level. So if I felt very confident about my data and then it's accurately captured, I can say that I want 99% confidence, and I can apply it, and you'll see that it makes it a bit wider because I want you to be safe. And if I say that I'm not that confident, oh, it jumped, I can say 80%, and I can maybe say I want 20 points because I want it to be a bit more detailed, and if I apply that, it will show me another graph. So I can chop and change with or based on the knowledge that I have around my data, so I can implement that in this report within Power BI. So I'm going to go back and just default that to what I had before because I felt like that looked pretty good. Then additionally to the visuals available and using these formats, I can also filter. So for example, in my pie chart, I wanted to see my top agents. So I went ahead and I selected with my filtering options to see top 5 agents. I have a few other options. I can say basic, advanced filtering. I can filter them alphabetically. I can filter them with most applicants to least applicants and so on. So you can filter the data that you're seeing beforehand as well. Another visual option that I use the slices, which is essentially grouping your data into a specific option set if you wanted to use it, or like I said, the statuses I can use. You can also right click and edit details, so I can say that I wanted to show this as in a table, or I want to group my data, or another thing that I changed on my pie chart when I did the formats is you can say that you want to view the data. Let me just, where is it now? You want to see it just as a percentage. or you just want to see the total. So it depends on how you want to see it. So you can optimize and tweak your report to be perfect. So the idea of your report is that once you have a look at it, the first initial look should tell you all the information you need to know. So I wanted to know my top performers. I wanted to see how many applications I have. I wanted to see how long the application is taking through each stage. I want to see my median line. I want to see how many applications I can expect. So you want to make it very, very easy to see the answers that you are looking for. Right, so once you are happy with your report, everything looks good and in order, you can then go ahead and publish that report, make it available online. So when you log into, and let me just open that up. When you log into your Power BI online, you can have a look at the reports. It's visible to you. You can go to your workspace and look at your data set. And if you have the correct security rules and licensing, you can go ahead and download that data set and work on those reports. And then you have this beautiful report available to your managers, and they can go ahead and manage their specific teams and ensure that work gets done properly. And that is how Power BI can help you visualize your data to make good decisions from accurate, up-to-date information. You can take initiative, you can launch campaigns with your marketing team, and it's all very easily done and very clear. So let's have a look and see if you have any questions that I can look into. Right, so question 1. Are you limited to the charts and graphs shown in that side menu? Okay, so in the side menu, which is the visualizations tab, you had all of those visuals available. So you can get the slicer and the line graphs and the pie charts and all of that. But additionally to those, you actually have more. You can go to, there's a little ellipse where you can say import custom, and you can import custom graphs and charts and things that you want to use in your report. You can even build your very own custom graphs and things, and then access it via Power BI via that ellipse as well. So you can get custom ones, create your own custom one, and then add them via the ellipse on the visualization tab. Easy as that. In your examples, you use different connectors for your data. How many connectors are available? Well, like I showed, when you go to get data, you have many options available. You can go and select Excel, you can select online services, and like I showed, you've got Salesforce, you've got even Zendesk, which is our support platform that we use. You can plug in directly to LinkedIn, any service on Microsoft and Power Platform. There's connectors available immediately there in that selection with get data, but there's also more connectors that you can plug in or access, and it will be available. It's limitless, really. How do you ensure your reports are using up-to-date data? Actually, yeah, that's something I didn't pull through, and I did mention it earlier when we talked, that with Power BI, you can get data, so you can get your data through Excel or plug it in directly on the online service. But you have the option to set data refresh. So that means that you can set a specific time, maybe at midnight every night or bi-weekly. You can set that your whole database, the data model that you've built in Power BI, gets refreshed with the most up-to-date data from whatever source it's coming from. So if you have it plugged in directly to an online Dynamics 365 system, it can then update or refresh every day at midnight. Or if you have a specific Excel file that's stored, you can use the same naming conversion and then update that file. Cool, so you can have data refresh, and then it will keep your reports up to date with the most recent details. Depends on how you set it. How did you get your report to match the color of your organization? That's pretty neat. You have the option to create a theme. So there is, within Power BI, when you're building your report, there's a View tab, and you can go into Themes, and there's already a pre-selected amount of themes that you can just click. You can just select blue, for example. I think it's called Storm, and it will apply those colors from the theme, and it even you can modify the text font as well. It will then apply that onto all of your reports. So you don't have to select that for each report. You select the theme, it will apply it, and it's as easy as that. Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. But you do have the option to expand on that selection. So you can go ahead and go to the community gallery, and you do that directly from that tab as well, and that will take you to the Power BI community gallery where other users have created their own themes and made it available, and you can download and import it into your report. You also have the option to create your own report, or you can customize an existing one and then save it, and then you can add your own branding colors and stuff. So that's exactly what I did. I selected one of the already made themes, and then I modified it with my company branding colors, and that automatically applied to all of my reports built, and now I have beautiful magnetism green. Are you only able to use your report within Power BI? Well, you can embed a Power BI report in heaps of places. You can make it available online, and you can embed it even directly in your Dynamics 365. So you can use your report in other systems. Like you could get data, you can also share data. Like Power BI can also be incorporated in another Power Platform feature, like Customer Insights. So in Customer Insights, you can pull in these reports and visuals as well. So you do have that option. It's only a connector, a Power BI connector that you can connect to and use your reports. And then, let's have a look at the time. Yeah, we could do one more. Is there functionality to drill in like other reports? Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking this is what you mean, where you click on some of the details in the report, you can actually see the data. You do have the option, so where I had the pie chart and it showed me my top agents, I can actually right click and say view this in table form, and then I can see all of my data in tables. If you're more used to Excels, most people in data and reviews and analytics use that. So you can actually drill down into specific bits of information. You can also review it in a table form. Cool. And that should be, yeah, that's that for today. Right. So in conclusion, we were able to resolve pretty big data problems and gain valuable insights to improve and grow our business, all with one intuitive, powerful tool. With Microsoft Power BI, we saw how a manager can instantly have full oversight of their team's workload. They can jump in to assist with managing their workload, target problem areas where applications maybe got stuck, even have a forecasting idea of what's to come so they can prepare themselves for that. Additionally, we were able to see the type of work we manage because of beautiful visualization. So we could see the type of work, the type of applications coming in, and their origins, what country they're coming from, what can we expect. Luckily for us, this was just the start of our business intelligence journey, and there was heaps more that we can still do. There's many features available in Microsoft Power BI to improve on our data. That's all the time we have for today. Please feel free to contact us with any questions. Till next time.